In Module 4C, 1. You will examine some special features of research hypothesis. 2. Prepare a 4 to 5 page preliminary paper that describes your research questions and hypothesis. And 3. You will also include an enhanced description of your research topic and statement of the problem, which you wrote in Module 3, Task Number 2. Whenever a dissertation contains a research hypothesis, it suggests that the researcher is using a quantitative research design, and by extension, the research will be using some form of statistical analysis. Let's start by examining the roles of research hypothesis as described by most researchers. 1. If you are using a hypothesis, it suggests that specific features of your sample or population can be measured numerically. 2. This also indicates that the hypothesis is tested using sample statistics. In research, we normally collect data about a sample. Wikipedia defines a data sample as a set of data that is collected from a population using a defined procedure. Researchers agree that a sample is simply a part of a population. In research, we collect data from a sample or from the whole population, depending on the research questions or hypothesis. 3. A hypothesis is written in the present tense, using positive assertions, and is presented in a non-directional manner. By this, I mean that it is presented in a manner that does not favor one outcome over another. We call this the null hypothesis. There are two types of hypothesis, the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis. 4. A null hypothesis says there is no statistical significance between or among variables in a population. It is usually this hypothesis that a researcher or experimenter will try to disprove or discredit. Researchers normally present the null hypothesis. In the dissertation, you must use the null hypothesis. Remember, the null is the hypothesis that claims that there is no significant difference between or among specified samples or populations. It further claims that any observed difference is due to chance or sampling and experimental error. And finally, 5. An alternative hypothesis states there is a statistical significance between or among variables in a population. Do not use the alternative hypothesis in your dissertation. In summary, research questions and hypothesis are critical components of your dissertation. When written clearly, you will collect, analyze, and interpret your data easily. While the research questions describe relationships or differences between variables, research hypotheses predict or speculate about the nature of these relationships or differences. Depending on your research design, you may use the research question, the hypothesis, or both. Which leads us to this question: which type should you use? Or better still, when do you use the research question or hypothesis? That will depend entirely on your research design and on the type of research you are conducting. We will discuss this issue in later modules. Meanwhile, see several samples and other documents on research questions and hypothesis in the Samples and Readings folders. As always, there are things to do to complete Module 4. Review purpose of the study. Research questions and hypothesis in dissertations in the Readings and Samples folders. Integrate the relevant literature into your research questions and hypothesis. Contact your seminar leader if you have any questions regarding this task. Now let's turn to task number 3. For task number 3, and in 4 to 5 properly cited pages, write a preliminary paper, which must include the following. 1. An enhanced description of the research topic, using the statement of the problem you created in task 2. 2. Enhanced description of the specific research action you propose to undertake to resolve the issues you have raised. Here you will expand on what was already written in Task 1. 3. Statement explaining why it is important for you to research this topic and to answer the research question or questions or hypothesis. 4. Summary of the research about that topic. 5. Research questions and hypothesis if applicable. And finally, 6. A reference list, an expansion of what was presented earlier in task number 1. Task 3 will conclude Module 4. In Module 5, we will discuss the importance of theory to your topic and explore the significance of doing this research. Proceed now to the LMS dashboard to complete task number 3.